User-generated content is absolute marketing gold. But what is it exactly? How can it be repurposed for multi-channel use? And what are the best practices for incorporating it into your B2B marketing strategy? So many questions, and I'll answer them in this episode. You're listening to the Content 10x podcast, where it's all about content repurposing. I'm Amy Woods, and I'm here to help you maximize your content and find smart ways to get your message in front of more of the right people, whilst also saving time. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Content 10x podcast. I'm Amy Woods, the founder of Content 10x and your host for this podcast episode. So thank you very much for tuning in. I have a highly valuable topic to cover with you today. Now, the Content 10x podcast is all about content repurposing and specifically how we can make the most of our content and really maximize its value and distribute it in the most effective ways. In this episode, I'm going to be looking at different types of user-generated content and its many uses in marketing, as well as ways that it can be repurposed. So I'll cover what user-generated content is, or UGC, as you may hear me refer to it in this episode, also why it's good for repurposing, 3 ways you can repurpose user-generated content, and how it works in B2B. Now, before I get to the main content, just to mention, if you want content repurposing tips and guidance, industry updates, inspiring stories, and exclusive news delivered straight to your inbox every other week, so not too often, just every other week, then join thousands of marketers, business owners, and creators and become a Content 10x insider. Head to content10x.com/newsletter. Right, okay, so first things first, what is user-generated content and why is it so important? Well, simply put, it's any content, be it text, images, videos, reviews, or testimonials, that's created and shared by your customers, clients, fans, or followers. Think of it as the digital equivalent of word-of-mouth marketing. Basically, it's gold. User-generated content is a badge of trust. When your customers or clients become your advocates and share their authentic experiences with your product or services, it really does go a long way to boost credibility and trust among potential buyers or clients. It humanizes your brand and really just reinforces the idea that you have a community where real people enjoy real benefits. After all, you can say your product or service is the best in the world until you are blue in the face. But of course you would, it's your product or service. But when those who consume your product or service start shouting out about it, now that is something special. Let's talk about the magic that results in the repurposing of user-generated content. Repurposing UGC saves you time. It amplifies engagement and extends the lifespan of content. Imagine a customer or client sharing a glowing review on social media. Instead of it fading away after a few days, you repurpose that review into a compelling testimonial video or an eye-catching infographic or quote image, and it gets seen by a much larger audience over a longer period of time. You're not only preserving its impact, but you're also amplifying it across multiple channels. Alright, so now we know that repurposing user-generated content is a game changer. Let's dive into 3 ways that you can do it. First, let's look at visual stories. Of course, you can reshare the stories that your customers share, whether they're photos or videos, but you could also turn customer stories into new and different engaging visual content too. For example, create short videos that showcase the before and after journey of your customers. These videos have the power to tug at heartstrings while demonstrating your product's effectiveness. You could also pull together different visual content like videos that your customers and clients share and edit them all together into single videos, perhaps focusing on different themes each time. Now, if your clients and customers are sharing this content anyway, it's really just a case of taking it and repurposing into stories that you can also share. Then number 2, testimonials. Extract impactful quotes from user-generated content and transform them into visually appealing graphics in your branding. These quotable gems are perfect for sharing on social media, and they inject authenticity into your posts. You can also share them in your sales and credentials decks, proposals and pitches, on your website, and within internal content, for example, in recruitment and training material, or say at town hall or all hands meetings, as well as within external marketing content. Now, you can hear more about repurposing content for internal communications in podcast episode 283 entitled Repurposing Customer Stories to Unite and Empower Your Team. So just head to content10x.com/283. I'll put the link in the show notes. So number 2 is finding those wonderful testimonials from your customers and clients that create this user-generated content, and then creating your own version, sharing what they've said in your branding. So you can reshare what they share, of course. That user-generated content is powerful, but make it go further by sharing it in the other places that you tend to share reviews and testimonials. A third option is expert roundups and long-form content. Compile user-generated content that provides solutions to pain points or interesting insights or points of view, and craft them into blog posts or maybe insightful industry articles, or even a topic for a webinar, video, or podcast episode. This not only shines a light on and celebrates your real-life customers' experiences, but it also positions your brand as a thought leader in your industry. Now, if you're anything like me, you might have always considered user-generated content to be more of a big thing in the B2C and even more so D2C markets. But user-generated content does 100% work in a B2B landscape too. In a B2B setting, user-generated content can hold massive potential. Success stories told by satisfied clients and customers that are shared via their own content can be repurposed into compelling content for you to share that showcases real-world applications of your products or services. Sharing the journeys of your B2B clients with measurable results really establishes credibility and builds trust among potential customers and clients. For example, you could use user-generated content within your case studies. It would really boost your case studies, make them more interesting and powerful if you had some user-generated content from the customer or client that the case study is about. And then, of course, you can repurpose your case studies as well. So case studies are often the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to content repurposing. And additionally, user-generated content provides social proof, crucial for B2B buyers who often rely on peer recommendations and industry validations. When industry experts or professionals endorse your offering through user-generated content, it enhances your brand's reputation and increases the likelihood of conversions. So be on the lookout for user-generated content. Don't let it pass you by. When you see it, provided it's good, be sure to work out if there's more that you could do with it. So can you repurpose it into a testimonial for your site or for sales and marketing materials? Could you create some social media content? Where could you simply reshare the user-generated content in its current format? Could you use the topic for a webinar or podcast episode or blog post? There's lots that you can do with user-generated content. So there you have it, the beauty of user-generated content and its potential for repurposing in a B2B setting. So by leveraging authentic customer stories, reviews, and testimonials, you're not only building strong connections, but you're also creating a content repository that keeps on giving. So I hope this has been a useful episode and given you some food for thought. Hopefully you can see how you can utilize user-generated content via repurposing to help you build trust and maximize reach. And hopefully I've planted some seeds and given you some great ideas. If you need help with your content repurposing, then we at Content 10x offer a fully done-for-you content repurposing service for B2B businesses. Just head to content10x.com/services to find out more about what we do and how we might be able to help you. Okay, so that's a wrap. All that's left to say is thank you, as always, so much for listening to this episode. Happy repurposing, and I'll catch you in the next one.